The Flourishing Together Framework by Kevin Benedict. Across history, geography, and culture, humanity has returned again and again to a small set of enduring truths about what allows people and societies to thrive. These truths appear in different languages and symbols, yet they point in the same direction. They speak of compassion toward others, integrity in action, service beyond self, and a commitment to growth. The Flourishing Together framework is not a new invention. It is a careful articulation of these timeless principles, expressed in a way that helps modern leaders, institutions, and communities navigate a world of increasing complexity, speed, and pressure. At its heart, this framework makes a simple but profound claim. Human flourishing is not an individual achievement. It is a shared condition that emerges when people, systems, and environments are aligned in ways that allow human capacity to expand, human viability conditions to be respected, virtues to provide direction, and polyintelligence to guide action across a world now shaped by human, machine, and ecological realities. Now, to understand this clearly, we must begin with some definitions here. Human capacities are the strengths we bring to the world. They include judgment, the ability to discern wisely in uncertainty, ethics, the internal compass that guides right action, empathy, the ability to understand and feel with others, creativity, the power to imagine and build what does not yet exist, narrative, the ability to make sense of the world through shared stories, relational trust, the foundation of cooperation, and transformational energy units, or TEUs, our finite capacity to adapt, change, and carry the psychological and emotional load of transformation. These capacities are remarkable, but they are not limitless. They operate within specific human viability conditions, the conditions required for human beings to remain coherent, capable, and engaged. These include belonging, fairness, meaning, coherence, and agency. When these conditions are honored, human capacities expand. When they are violated, these same capacities begin to degrade. But there is a third element, often overlooked yet decisive. Between capacity and action sits the virtues. Virtues provide direction. They shape how capacities are used and determined whether outcomes strengthen or weaken the system. Compassion, integrity, service, growth, justice, courage, humility, responsibility, and wisdom are not abstract ideals floating above practical life. They are the stabilizing architecture of healthy human systems. This relationship is foundational. Human capacities generate potential. Human viability conditions enable activation, sustainability, and continuation. Virtues determine direction. When empathy is guided by compassion, it becomes care in action. When judgment is anchored in integrity, it becomes trustworthy leadership. When creativity is aligned with service, it produces solutions that matter. When growth is shaped by humility, it becomes learning rather than disruption for its own sake. This alignment is what creates flourishing. Yet in the modern world, there is now a fourth element that must be explicitly named. Capacities, conditions, and virtues alone are no longer enough because leaders are no longer operating in purely human environments. We now live inside intertwined systems of digital speed, machine analysis, ecological stress, global interdependence, and institutional fragility. This means flourishing today requires not only good people and good values, but a better operating model for navigating complexity itself. This is where polyintelligence becomes essential. Polyintelligence is the disciplined integration of three forms of intelligence: human intelligence, machine intelligence, and ecological intelligence. Human intelligence contributes judgment, ethics, empathy, meaning, imagination, and moral responsibility. Machine intelligence contributes speed, scale, memory, pattern recognition, simulation, and real-time analysis. Ecological intelligence contributes awareness of interdependence, limits, regeneration, resilience, feedback loops, and long-term consequences. Now, each form of intelligence is powerful, but each is also incomplete on its own. Human integrity is morally rich but biologically limited. Humans tire, overlook patterns, carry biases, and struggle to process complexity at machine speed. Machine intelligence is astonishingly fast and powerful, but it does not care, does not possess moral responsibility, and cannot determine what is humane, just, or worthy. Ecological intelligence is not thinking in the human sense, but it reveals the laws of durable flourishing through living systems. Nature teaches us that systems survive through balance, reciprocity, adaptation, diversity, and respect for limits. When human or machine systems violate those laws, consequences eventually arrive. Polyintelligence, then, is not the replacement of human intelligence by machines, nor is it a romantic return to nature. It is the practical braiding together of these three forms of intelligences so that each compensates for the blind spots of the other. In the Flourishing Together framework, polyintelligence plays a specific and indispensable role. It is the operational method by which flourishing can be protected and expanded under modern conditions. It helps leaders sense more clearly, decide more wisely, and act more responsibly. Human intelligence asks, what is right? What is fair? What does this mean for people? Machine intelligence asks, what patterns are emerging? What is changing right now? What can be optimized or predicted? Ecological intelligence asks, what are the long-term consequences? What limits are being ignored? What must be sustained for life and legitimacy to endure? When these three are integrated, leadership becomes more complete. Leaders can move with speed without losing wisdom. They can scale action without stripping away dignity. They can innovate without severing themselves from long-term viability. This matters because the pressures facing human systems are intensifying. History provides many examples of what happens when systems align with human flourishing. Following the devastation of World War II, Finland and its Nordic neighbors faced hardship, uncertainty, and fragmentation. They could have chosen fear, repression, or extraction. Instead, they made structural choices that supported human viability conditions. They invested in equitable education, healthcare, transparent governance, and social trust. These were not sentimental gestures. They were system designs that respected fairness, belonging, and security while embodying virtues such as service, integrity, and growth. Over time, these choices strengthened human capacity at scale. Innovation, resilience, civic trust, and social cohesion became more durable. Their success did not come from perfection. It came from alignment. The same pattern appears in moral leadership. Gandhi demonstrated that service and integrity can mobilize millions without large-scale violence. Mandela demonstrated that dignity and reconciliation could stabilize a wounded society rather than push it into revenge and collapse. In both cases, the leaders did more than speak of values. They created moral orientations in moments of pressure and disintegration. These examples reveal an enduring truth. Systems built on force can produce compliance, but not flourishing. Systems built on trust, legitimacy, and shared purpose create the conditions for durable human development. This leads us to one of the most important dynamics in the framework, the pressure to degradation cascade. In any society or organization, pressures accumulate. These may come from technological acceleration, economic volatility, cultural conflict, geopolitical instability, automation, environmental disruption, or institutional mistrust. As pressures rise, it consumes transformative energy units, or TEUs. When TEUs are depleted, people experience confusion, fatigue, overload, and emotional strain. At that point, human viability conditions begin to fracture. Belonging weakens as polarization rises. Fairness is questioned as inequality becomes more visible. Meaning erodes when work and life feel disconnected from purpose. Coherence breaks down when systems become far too complex or opaque to understand. Agency disappears when individuals feel that their choices no longer matter. As these conditions fail, human capacities begin to degrade. Judgment becomes reactive, empathy narrows, trust declines, creativity gives way to fear, narrative fragments, ethics become compromised under pressure. This is how systems begin to break, not always in a dramatic crash, but through a slow erosion of legitimacy, coherence, and care. The Flourishing Together framework intervenes precisely at this point. It does so first through virtues, which act as a stabilizing force. Compassion restores connection, integrity rebuilds trust, service reconnects the individual to the whole. Growth keeps learning alive under pressure. Justice reinforces fairness. Humility keeps leaders teachable. Responsibility preserves accountability. Wisdom helps leaders act with proportion and foresight. But in today's world, virtues alone are not enough unless they are operationalized. This is the crucial contribution of polyintelligence. Polyintelligence gives the framework practical reach. It helps leaders detect stress sooner, interpret complexity more accurately, and design systems that protect human flourishing rather than accidentally undermining it. Machine intelligence can identify rising overload, burnout patterns, supply chain instability, misinformation cascades, or hidden correlations in health and education systems. Human intelligence can interpret what those signals mean in moral, cultural, and relational terms. Ecological intelligence can reveal whether the responses being considered are regenerative or merely extractive. Together, they allow leaders to respond not just faster, but better. In this sense, polyintelligence is the enabling architecture of flourishing in the age of acceleration. It is how capacities, viability, and virtues can be coordinated at the speed and scale modern life now demands from us. This also clarifies the relationship between polyintelligence and virtues. Polyintelligence is not itself a virtue. It is a method of integration. Virtues remain essential because they determine how polyintelligence is used. A highly polyintelligent system without compassion may become cold and exploitative. One without integrity may become manipulative. One without service may optimize for elites while downgrading or degrading the common good. One without humility may become arrogant and blind to its own risk. Virtues, then, are the moral steering system of polyintelligence. And human viability conditions are the human test of whether that system is working. If a supposedly advanced system increases speed but destroys belonging, it is failing. If it improves efficiency but erodes fairness, it is failing. If it produces abundance while stripping away meaning, coherence, or agency, it is failing. The point of intelligence is not intelligence alone. The point is flourishing. This is why the Flourishing Together framework is so important for leadership today. It does not ask to choose between humanity and technology, or between speed and ethics, or between prosperity and sustainability. It offers a more integrated path. It says, build human capacities, protect human viability conditions, cultivate virtues, operationalize all three through polyintelligence. That is how a modern society institution, or enterprise becomes both high-performing and humane. Critics often raise two objections to this. The first is cost. Designing systems that prioritize fairness, belonging, meaning, and long-term well-being can appear expensive. But history repeatedly shows that the cost of neglect is far greater. Burnout, mistrust, polarization, health decline, disengagement, instability, and social fragmentation are all very expensive. Investment in flourishing is not charity, it is a strategy. The second objection is realism. The world contains conflict, competition, and threat. Does a framework built around compassion, trust, and flourishing leave us exposed? The answer is no. Flourishing does not mean fragility. Healthy systems are not soft, they are resilient. They generate trust internally while maintaining the capacity to defend against external threats. The Nordic societies demonstrate this well. Strong cohesion and serious security capacity can coexist. In fact, they often strengthen each other. What determines the trajectory of a society or an organization is not whether it encounters adversity, but how it organizes in response to it. The Flourishing Together framework offers a practical doctrine for that response. It draws from timeless human wisdom and integrates it with modern understanding of psychology, systems, technology, and ecology. It gives us a language for diagnosing breakdown, a logic for restoring alignment, and an operating model for leading under pressure. The framework can now be stated clearly. Ready? Human capacities are the engines of possibility. Human viability conditions support, sustain, and protect capacities. Virtues provide a moral direction. Polyintelligence enables wise coordination across human, machine, and ecological realities. When all four are aligned, people do not simply perform, they participate. They do not merely comply, they contribute. They do not just survive under pressure, they remain coherent, capable, and engaged. In other words, they flourish. And that is the choice before us. We flourish or we fracture. And in the age of acceleration, we will flourish only if we learn to do so together, wisely and polyintelligently.